Yes, that was a showcase by the fashion design and marketing students. They'll be having the same showcase this year too, so you guys should be ready for that. And of course, it was prepared by Ashley Asachi. Congratulations on your graduation, Ashley. You're doing a very great job. Now, we want to delve into a conversation here about the fourth KISE conference, and this year we are talking about parent empowerment and engagement. We are coming in a few. Yes, if you're tuning in right now, the show is Art and Culture Monday, and you're with me, Emperor Shaker, in the place. And right here in the studio, we have Madam Flora Malasi from KISE. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, behind the scenes, we had already started a conversation, but maybe we can just pick it up. This is the fourth conference of KISE. And before we just get into it, maybe just an introduction and the role you play in KISE. And for those who don't know KISE, maybe just tell them what KISE is all about.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Flora Malasi. I'm a Deputy Academic Registrar Training at KISE, that is Kenya Institute of Special Education. And my role is to go keep check on curriculum delivery. And therefore, this discussion here today about parental empowerment and engagement is so key, because as teachers implement the curriculum, parents also need to play their role. But when it comes to parents of children with disability, then they have to put an extra effort as compared to parents of typical children, because they have to understand their language. If you have a child who is deaf, then as a parent you have to learn sign language for you to be able to communicate with that particular child, for you also to be able to support this child to do the homework, which is always given to the children. If you have a child who is blind, you also have to understand braille. If you have a child with communication difficulties, then you have to understand issues of alternative communication modes. And that is not always easy. And therefore, this discourse we want to hold with parents on 23rd and 24th is to empower each other. What is it that you're supposed to do as a parent to support your child with disability in school, so that they can also realize their full potential? Because that is what competence-based curriculum is all about. So we need to unleash the potential of our children. But if you're not supported at home, then it becomes quite tricky at school. And we need continuity. Whatever is happening at school should also be supported at home. So KISE as an institute, we train teachers to undertake a diploma in special needs education, whereas they are able now to go out there and teach children with disabilities. And we train in very many, actually, courses, around 11. I think I'll try to mention a few.
Okay.
The 4 traditional areas, which is the area of visual impairment, hearing impairment, intellectual disabilities, and then we have physical disabilities. But currently we've added on new courses, which include autism, deaf-blind, gifted and talented, emotional and behavioral disorders, as well as inclusive education. So these are different specialty areas where teachers would train and then go out there and teach. Currently, the training focuses more on primary school and very little on secondary and tertiary. But we've been engaging with different partners and training teachers at secondary school level, as well as trying to empower tutors at tertiary levels to also get to understand how best to support their children in school. KISE has several mandates, and one of the mandates is actually to train personnel to help children or persons with disabilities. And when we talk about personnel, it's not only teachers. We also train paramedics. We also train, what do we call them? Literally anybody in a field where they are interacting with persons with disability. We conduct research in the area of special needs. We also design and produce teaching and learning materials and assistive devices for children with disabilities. And we run an inclusive model preschool where we integrate or we include children with disability right from age 4 before they transit to grade 1. These are just a few among the things we do at KISE. We also do rehabilitation. This is a new area where we rehabilitate children and adults who have just acquired a disability to avoid them dropping out of either school or work. So if in the course of duty you happen to become blind or you happen to become deaf, they can come to KISE, take this rehabilitation treatment or course for 6 months or more, depending on how severe your condition is, and you're able to go back to your workplace and continue with your work, or you go back to school and continue.
Yeah. Now, this is about empowerment and engagement of parents. I just want to know the reception of parents living with disabilities. How has it been in just being engaged and in being empowered on this conference?
Currently, we have to agree, our society is still struggling with accepting disability. Quite a number of times you'll find that parents go into depression because of stigma. And at times it's not only stigma, but it's lack of support. You have this child who has, let's say, autism. You literally don't know where to place them, because within your society or within your community, no school is willing to have this child who is hyper, who is mute, and who has behavioral difficulties. People don't understand how best can we support this child. So you'll take this child to preschool A, they are declined after 1 week or 1 month. The school says, no, we cannot manage your kid. So you go from one school to the other. No one gives you a solution. So at the end of the day, you remain at home. And that is why you'll find that with the competence-based curriculum, the Ministry of Education is actually introducing homeschooling. The child who cannot fit within a classroom environment has a right to be educated at home. But what has not happened, there are no proper systems to guide how homeschooling should be done. Who is this who will be going to your home to homeschool your child? Who would meet the expenses of this teacher who is coming to homeschool your child? So these are some of the gray areas which need to come out clearly, because every child has a right to education, and it's very clear in our laws. And therefore, if I have a right to education and my education is to be homeschooled, then I think the government should also take the responsibility of schooling my child at home. It should not be now my burden as a parent. So that is one area parents really find confusing and are not able to get the correct answers whenever they are asked. Secondly, many children with disability would need assistive devices. These assistive devices are not readily available. Quite a number of times when they are available, they are very expensive. So how do they acquire them? And remember, a growing child needs keep on changing. So if I acquire a device today, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, that device would need either updating, upgrading, or having totally a new one. And we don't have those systems where there is a smooth and seamless support in supporting this child so that they don't feel left out within the classroom environment. So those are some of the challenges parents are still experiencing. Then there is no proper coordination between the parent and the teacher. So I think we need to educate our teachers on how to interact and bring on board parents in the education of their children. And this is something teachers are not trained to do in the training colleges. And therefore, when they come to the field, it's upon an individual to strike a rapport on how they would interact with parents. And because of that, you'll find that many a times, the teachers are not able to meet the parental expectations. And the parents are not also able to understand the teacher. But what I would like to say here today is a parent is the best teacher for their child. They know more than you do. And once you listen to them, you as a teacher, you are able now to come up with a plan which can now integrate the ideas the parent have to support this child. We need to up our game as teachers when it comes to that. But then what causes this rift? Our system also has overburdened the teachers. If you are in a class of 20 children who have intellectual disabilities and at different severity levels, you have the mild, you have the moderate, and you have the severe. Within one class, there are 20 of them, and you are alone. Then it also becomes very difficult for the teacher to meet the needs of each child. And therefore, parents may not see much progress in their children, and therefore parents will always complain, yeah, my child has been in school for 10 years, for 5 years, but there is no difference. And this then impacts on their transition to adulthood life and to work. So you've spent 10 years in school, but you have nothing to show of the 10 years. And these are the things now competence-based curriculum is taking care of. Because with the stage-based pathway, once a child is at the foundation level, before they transit to intermediate level, which is the second level, they have to undertake sort of like an exam, but I don't want to call it an exam, but a skill-based sort of assessment where you are able to say, within this foundation level, these were the skills Flora was supposed to acquire. Can Flora do self-care activities? Yes or no? Yes. Can Flora communicate to visitors and people around her? Yes. How does she communicate? I may be communicating by just my facial expression, and through my facial expression, you are able to pick whether I'm okay and not okay. But if I can listen, look at your body language, and I do what you expected me to do, then my communication is I'm able to observe, pick the key communication signs, and partake the activity I'm supposed to partake well enough or to an extent where it's satisfactory. And therefore, with that, if it's documented, when now I walk through that door and tell you guys, I'm able to arrange things in this room, you only need to tell me what to do. You will take time. So next time, we want to go on shore, you tell me, can you move this tripod stand here, there? I'll do it. And I'll walk back because I'm able to take instructions, but I'm not able to verbally communicate efficiently. And those are the things we say they need to be documented and given a certificate that to the best of our knowledge, after 10 years of schooling, Flora is able to arrange the room as per the instructions given and can take more instructions beyond that. But give one instruction at a time. Don't give multiple instructions. So once I have that certificate with me, if I walk through that door, you will read and you'll be able to say, yes, we can have you around, or no, we can guide you to another place where they can support you. So those are the things which competence-based curriculum is trying to bring. And that is why, as Kenya Institute of Special Education, we are in support of competence-based curriculum because it believes in individuality.
Yeah.
Then it gives room to children to grow as per their ability, especially those in stage-based. Age-based, they move as a badge. But our stage-based children would move as per their ability to acquire the skills.
Individually.
Yeah, individually. And they have room to grow up to tertiary level. They may take time, but once they are through with intermediate, they'll move to pre-vocational.
Yeah.
And by the time now they are in pre-vocational, teachers would be able to pick out the skills and the talents in each of the children and now grow them through their skill areas. And that would help them then pick a course in vocationals. And after vocational, we can always support them to go to tertiary institutions.
Okay.
So what is not happening currently is now lack of that transition. You bring a child who has intellectual disability. Let's say, for example, you take them to Kasarani Technical Institution, which is around Kamulu.
Yeah.
And the teachers are not aware that Flora's communication is limited. But Flora is able to undertake activities in this particular area. They would actually look at you and ignore you. And one big killer thing of dreams is when you are ignored. And when you are ignored and you're not able to express yourself that, why are you ignoring me? You start bottling up anger. And when you bottle anger, it brings now that frustration which comes out as a behavioral problem. And then people would say, you are difficult.
Difficult to work with.
Yeah. People with disability are just difficult people. They are not.
They're just not understood.
They are never understood.
Now, if we were to talk about the conference, maybe some of the themes that will be tackled there, and maybe just tell us a few activities of the days for the 22nd and 23rd.
Yeah.
23rd and
24th, yes. Yeah. When the conference is on, we shall be having discussions in the themes. Actually, we have around 5 themes, I think, yeah. And one is caregivers and parental support.
Yeah.
There would be a discourse about that. How then can we support parents and caregivers? Another discussion area would be assessment of children with disability. Assessment should be the first step before a child goes to school, so that now there is a guide for teachers to know what they need to support this child. And it is clearly stipulated within CBC framework that for children with special needs, the first step is assessment. But it's not being observed. And we are trying now, that's why we are having this sitting, to encourage parents to take their children for assessment before they go to school. And this is functional assessment, not like the exam assessment. It's
just
functional.
to know their abilities.
Yeah, just to get to understand how are they functioning. Exactly. How are they functioning? And then functioning educationally, because we deal with education. Yeah. Then there would be also a discourse on policies, what policies and legal laws which are within our constitution that support children with disability. Quite a number of people don't understand these policies or these laws, and that is why you'll find that many a times when children with disabilities are abused in schools, the cases just are swept under the carpet because people don't know about the legal laws and policies which they can use to demand for the rights of this particular child.
Okay.
And they would always go for settling cases outside
the court.
Which is not right. Because if you settle it outside the court, there's this other child who is suffering the same, and people would imagine nothing happened to this other person. So there's no need of me pursuing this cause because there are no laws to support it.
It limits the awareness.
Exactly, it limits the awareness.
The legal options. Yeah.
Exactly. And we also have, one of the themes is also to talk about awareness.
Yeah.
We need to empower our parents because many movements in the world where persons with disabilities are supported started with parents. And it was through awareness and coming together and having movements and demanding that can our systems be this way so that our children can also realize their full potentials.
Now, as we come to the close of this interview, maybe you can tell us how people can take part in this conference, and if it's limited just to the parents with kids with disabilities only, and maybe just invite them to the conference.
Okay, it's not limited to just parents of children with disability. It's actually open to all parents and even those who are not parents, because at the end of the day we are talking about children, and these children interact with people with there are many players within the field. So our conference, you can always go through the KISE website, www.kise.ac.ke. You'll be able to register. You have to register, then you pay 3,000 for the 2 days, and once you pay, you'll always be able to join us. And many parents, especially parents of children with disabilities, are invited. Professionals in the field of whatever field it is, you are also encouraged, especially teachers and those in medical field, because we really need to come together to support these children to excel. Now,
maybe just any last word to the public on maybe how to handle these people with disabilities. Sometimes you can find yourself at the position where you don't know exactly what to do.
It's quite tricky because we have what we call disability etiquette, that you need to understand them in order for you to support them. And disability etiquette calls for, if you come across me and you want to help me, always ask me, because I will be able to tell you I have this need and I need to be supported. If it's my wheelchair, if I'm on a wheelchair, that's my personal space. You don't need to interrupt. As we are discussing here, we all have our personal spaces. So we need to understand that persons with disabilities also have their personal spaces. So when I have my wheelchair, don't just come and start pushing me. Just make a request. If I have my white cane and I've placed it next to me, please don't move it. Request me, because there's a reason why I'm putting it next to me. Because once I have it here, I'll always remember that's where my hand will go to take it. So when you move it without letting me know, once I bring my hand down, I'll not find my walking my cane next to me, and that again would be you interfered with my personal space. So there are so many issues to be learned, and I would encourage people. KISE does disability mainstreaming training, and we go to workplaces. We also invite people so that we can take them to understand the different needs of of people with disability, so that we can support them with dignity. And that is one key thing. We need to dignify our children with disability.
Thank you very much for coming through. That was Madam Flora Malasi, the Deputy Academic Registrar Training at KISE, and all of you are invited to their 4th conference that will be happening on the 23rd and 24th this month. Just go on their website and register, and so that you can be part of this great movement that encourages the empowerment and engagement of parents.
On behalf of Kenya Institute of Special Education, I would like to welcome all the parents and other stakeholders on this year's conference on parents with children with disabilities to advocate and know what they're supposed to do with their children.
You can be part of this. Join us as a sponsor, exhibitor, or a delegate. The conference will be both physical and virtual. To register, visit our website mkutano.kise.ac.ke. For more information, contact us on 0721 446 429.
Welcome to KISE on 23rd and 24th November this year.
Step in. Let us walk together.